So in this sequel, and in my opinion, is definitely more than a spiritual sequel. It is a straight up sequel. Is Candyman the good guy now? Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about a movie I was really looking forward to. While I haven't seen all of the Candyman movies, I really like the original. I haven't seen the other sequels, but I was really looking forward to this one today. We're going to be talking about DaCosta's Candyman sequel. Look, I'm going to say this right now. For me, I don't know if it takes any details from the other sequels. I think it only takes things from the original. I'm sure there's some things from the sequels that this takes, but this one definitely continues on the story of the original. So I will tell you this. It's probably a good idea to rewatch the original if you haven't seen it anytime soon. Now, if you don't see it, you'll kind of figure out the story, but I think you're going to have a better experience if you have touched up on the original or have just seen the original because of where the story goes. I think those that are more fans of Candyman are really going to get more out of this movie. I'm just going to say this. I'll try not to spoil a ton of stuff. I do have to talk about some plot points, and I'll warn you of any potential spoilers. But I'll say this. If you don't want anything spoiled, I really dug this movie. I mean, I said it in the opening intro, is Candyman the good guy now? I'm going to talk about that. And in some ways, it's justified. We'll just say that. But yeah, I really dug this movie. It gets a little predictable here and there. It telegraphs itself a little too much, but the acting is really good. The violence is brutal and bloody. And yeah, I just really dug this one. So what this movie is about is Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He plays a painter that lives in or around the former Cabrini Green in Chicago, and he's kind of at an artist block. He can't. He has like this original series that went really well, but now he can't find inspiration, and he's kind of has artist block, and he doesn't know what to paint. But he ends up hearing the story about the Candyman, and so he goes to the former Cabrini Green. There's still some buildings and stuff there, but the area has definitely been gentrified. And he looks around and he ends up meeting somebody that kind of tells him the legend of the Candyman. So he starts looking into it, and this inspires him to come up with his new artwork. And then the story goes from there. It's really hard to talk about a lot of what happens after that without spoiling things. So fair warning, there might be some minor spoilers from here on out. As I said before, the acting is really good in this. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He's great in this. He finds that correct balance he needs between someone that is dealing with something he does not understand. He gets involved in something when things start happening. He doesn't really understand what's going on, but things start to happen around him, and the way he reacts, he's very, you can tell that something's going on with him. Now, we know something's going on with him, but the characters around him don't, and they see the way he acts, and they know that something's up. Because, again, we're getting into minor spoilers here, and of course, granted, this is a Candyman movie, you know that violence is going to happen. When people see, he comes out with his Candyman art exhibit, and he's ripped apart by a critic. He is ripped apart by the gallery owner, and then let's just say things start happening to people connected to this art exhibit that he put out, and he, in some ways, while bad things are happening, he's just like, well, they're mentioning my project, they're mentioning my art, and people are looking at him like, but people are dying, because along with his art show, he has a mirror, and of course he says, say the Candyman 5 times, and Candyman will appear in the reflection, all that stuff. So he plays the part really well, and everyone surrounding him, while there is a cartoonish character here and there, they're all entertaining, and those that you're not supposed to like, you definitely don't like. But what's cool about this movie is you're seeing how it's like okay, we got to be blunt about this. A lot of what's happening in this movie is taking it out on the mistreatment of black people. I mean, that's just the whole overarching story here. You have a white gallery owner that's being a jerk to him. You have a white critic that's being a jerk to him, but she's only interested in him when bad things start happening. It's like, oh, but you're going to be a star. I get it now. You can tell that she just wants to use him, right? They all want to mistreat him, and they all really want nothing to do with him when, he's just being, this is how the movie is treating it. He's just kind of like, just another black guy trying to make it, right? But then when there's a little infamy around him, they're interested in him. They want to use him. They want everything to do with him, right? So a lot of this is they show that he's being wronged in many ways, and the Candyman, whether it's right or wrong, is taking it out on him. Now, do these people deserve to die? The ones that die early in the movie? I don't know, but probably not. But some other people do later on, and you kind of know how a Candyman movie goes. You know what's going to happen to these people. But what we end up learning as things go along, there's some stuff I'm not going to reveal, but I will say this, again, I stress, watch the original Candyman before you see this, because you're going to get a lot more enjoyment out of this to where the story goes, because they do make references to the original movie. So where the story goes is we learn through our main character's paintings that we start seeing the history of the Candyman through history. And of course, we see a painting of the original Candyman, which is Tony Todd's version. And these paintings, if you look at like some of the soundtrack tunes that are on like YouTube, they'll show like cover art of what this art looks like. It's gruesome looking stuff, but you can tell that this one is Tony Todd, and they talk about the original history, where the original Candyman started, and then how there is other Candymans through history. And it's just, these people have been wronged, and they show, and this is something they show in the credits, which, by the way, stay for the entire credits, because throughout the movie, they do this like shadow puppet show, whenever they show like flashbacks and stuff. They do it throughout the movie, but the end credits show like the history of Candyman, like the different people that were wronged and what happened to them. And it definitely, oh, and by the way, they have a remake or a redo of the original music box music. And man, during that entire series, or the entire sequence of the credits, man, that stuff is haunting. Now, I always thought the original music box was pretty creepy, but man, this version, yeah, it's stuck with me, man. It really stuck with me. But getting back to the history of Candyman, they kind of, in some ways, they really start to emphasize or build upon what the bees represent when it comes to the legend of Candyman. I thought what they really did with that was cool. They really flesh out the history of the legend of Candyman, and the different people that were seen as a Candyman and what that means, and the things that happen to him. And I really thought the movie did a good job of doing that. I will say this, and in some ways I'm speaking metaphorically. In some ways I'm speaking bluntly here. I wish that the story wouldn't have been so black and white. I wish there would have been a gray area when it comes to the people's races in this. I mean, I think there was maybe one or two good white people in this. The rest were always, most of them were terrible people, or there wasn't a lot of gray areas in this, and I think I would have liked to see a little more balance. That being said, I don't think that it hurts the movie, really. It just would have been nice to have a little more gray area when it comes to like white people in this, where it's like we're not all bad, right? Because they don't shy away in a couple times in this movie saying, well, this black person was bad. Even though I'm not talking about the ones that portrayed Candyman, because, again, all of them were wronged in some way, the ones through history. So it would have been nice to just have a little bit more gray area. That being said, I get what the movie was doing. It didn't have really... I mean, the movie's fairly short. It's like an hour and a half, I think. It's pretty short. They really didn't need to take time to flesh out other characters or anything. They fleshed out all the characters they needed to. You also had, again, the stuff connecting to the original movie. And again, they mention things that happen in the original. So that definitely helps. So they didn't really need to flesh out other characters. I'm just saying it would have been nice if it wasn't so black and white. There is a gray area because... but that being said, would that have taken away from the message? I don't think so, because people that were wronging the black people in this movie throughout history and in the modern time that the story is being told in, a lot of them deserve some justice. We'll just say that. But yeah, this movie, I really dug it. I was... I'm glad they went the sequel route. Again, people are calling this spiritual sequel or soft reboot or whatever. No, it's a sequel. It's kind of doing what they did with Halloween, where they kind of take what they want and throw away the rest. And I like what they did here. I like the acting. I like the brutality in this. The effects of... there was one effect that they didn't do. I was a little disappointed, but they saved it. They saved something similar for the end, so it's okay they didn't do it. But some of the effects of when the Candyman spirit is going after people, some of that stuff was pretty dope. But yeah, all in all, I really dug this movie. I thought it was a pretty darn good continuation, again, of the original story. Again, in a way, a bit of it's telegraphed. You kind of know where one or two or three plot points are definitely going to end up, but you know what? I was digging it the entire time, so, the predictable nature of this movie did not outweigh everything else I was loving about the movie. So, if you got the guts, say Candyman 5 times and go see it. See if they appear to entertain you. That's it. See you later.